When Eleanor Roosevelt said, "Do one thing every day that scares you," she probably wasn't talking about checking your bank balance. Then again, maybe she was. After all, millions of Americans, including top earners, are paralyzed by financial fear, stress, and negative self-esteem related to money. Money is a top source of stress in America today. According to an annual stress survey, 72% of Americans said they felt stressed out about money. More than a quarter of Americans are stressed or extremely stressed out about money most of the time or all the time. Many people cope with money stress by pretending it doesn't exist. Do you know what that feeling is? Regardless of what they earn, millions of Americans dread looking at their bank balance. And reported in Atlantic, nearly half of the Americans, including those earning over $75,000, would have trouble finding $400 to pay for an emergency. Not only that, but most families, even those close to retirement, have basically no money saved for retirement. Now, this can be debilitating. A low bank balance can mean everything from skipping a night out with friends to not being able to cover your health care costs, family expenses, or even your mortgages. Now, I've been there. Right? I've struggled. I've made some poor decisions in the past, and that's why I love this topic. Because once I faced my fear and once I took hold of this financial beast and really started looking at the systems of money and the systems around money, it gave me a whole breakthrough. Right? So these are terrifying fears to confront, and no wonder so many people are compelled to look away and not wanting to move forward. You can imagine it's always scarier than what you know. Research and experience repeatedly shows that confronting a problem, even without a solution at hand, smooths away your anxiety, allowing the mind to be more productive and switch from focusing on the stress to focusing on the next steps. So there's a famous quote by FDR: "The only thing we have to fear is fear itself." It's as true in our personal finance matters as it was at wartime. I want to give you 5 insights to help you or someone you know face the financial fear to move to a healthier path and freedom around your stress. 1, your financial fears aren't really about money. My life was filled with terrible misfortune, most of which never happened. Mark Twain said that. We make it up. When we feel insecure about money, we really feel insecure about other things. You're not afraid to check your bank balance because it might be too low. You're afraid to see proof that you don't have enough money to take care of yourself and, more importantly, your family. So the first step is in confronting your financial fear is naming what really scares you about not having enough money. Is it about being judged by your peers? Is it a fear of losing your house? Fear if you can't afford the necessities for your family or for your kids? Fear that you'll never be able to retire? Breaking your fear down basically reduces the element and its power. Really question the root of the fear. Write it down on a piece of paper. Research shows that when we write things down and we get them out of our head, we'll be able to reduce our stress. With less stress comes less paralysis and the ability to progress. So reduce your plan to writing. That's where your budget becomes so important, so you can actually see what's in the plan and you can see what reality is. Number 2, this one's going to be hard. It's excessive self-criticism is counterproductive. You know, that voice inside your head. Shakespeare said, "What's gone and what's past help should be past grief." It's easy to say that money is just a social construct. In reality, it's a very potent, very powerful construct that helps shape our self-perception. A low bank balance can spin up a tornado of self-loathing. Self-criticism is only helpful in small doses. A little goes a very long way. Self-criticism in excess is crippling. It makes us freeze and prevents us from taking necessary actions. Hating on yourself won't solve the problem, financial or otherwise. So I'm going to recommend that you reframe by reminding yourself that you can't change the past, you can only learn from it. Remind yourself that you're learning from the setbacks and the actions you're taking today, and today is what really matters. As a practical matter, be honest with yourself. Don't waste time in self-criticism. Note your regrets, write them down, like you did with your fears above, and then forgive yourself and move on. You'll already be far ahead where you were yesterday by simply facing your fears and logging it into your accounts today. Number 3, your friends and your neighbors are in the same boat. The average U.S. household credit card debt balance is $16,748. The average household with any kind of debt owes about $134,000. You want to look at we're all experience the same thing. 7 out of 10 Americans are strained by financial issues ranging from crushing debt or loads of debt, insufficient funds, income too low to cover their expenses. The point is, you can take comfort knowing that you're not alone. And your money mistakes and struggles or fears are what most of us feel. The stigma of isolation is it's the feeling that's false. Very few Americans are where they want to be financially, and many are facing dire trouble. Now, I'm not saying to rain on the pity party, but I'm saying it when you understand that you're not alone and you're taking control of this makes a huge difference. Talking about it helps. In a study done by Umpa Bank, 77% of respondents said they didn't talk about their personal financial stress because they were too embarrassed. For 23% of people who did talk about it, 70% of those people felt better after doing so. That's why a coach is so important. A coach will tell you what you don't want to hear. A coach will show you what you don't want to see so that you could be the person you know you can be. It's a safe space to talk about what's working and not working. So while talking about money in our society is really considered taboo, there was an article done in NBC News that outlined a frank conversation about finances is a seriously good idea with your spouse and with your family. You don't necessarily have to confide in everyone, just find a safe place that you can talk about your financial success and your financial woes. It's important that you find that community, you find that tribe, you find that advocate to help you look at where you're at in your finances and where you want to be in your finances. Even the simplest plan will make you feel so much better. A good plan today is better than a perfect plan tomorrow. So I want you to look at worry is a terrible business strategy. It's a terrible strategy for our financial lives, and it's a terrible strategy for your personal life. Unfortunately, as we've seen, it's the default strategy of how most of us confront our money issues. When a problem feels too big, it's almost impossible to confront. But you don't need to confront all your financial fears at once. You don't need to spend months developing a flawless financial plan to start making positive change. So I want you to look at what's one goal that would transcend your current financial situation. The one goal that I always tell my clients to do is let's put a personal budget in place first. Let's know the reality. Let's get your head out of the sand. Let's get your family's head out of the sand. And then look at what do I need to do to make this happen. Another way to say it is we want to be engaged in the answers that you're trying to get versus suffering inside of the drama that you're creating. So pay attention, ask questions, become aware of your own personal spending. That was the biggest breakthrough that I had. I became so aware of what I was spending and why I was spending. And the reality is I found that I was spending because I never had time to myself. And so I would travel a ton. And so I would go into the airport and I would buy things at the airport to make me feel good about all the hard work that I had just done. It had me start looking at, I'm just trying to fill a void. I didn't necessarily need the things I bought. I just wanted those things so that I could feel good. So what's your biggest problem? What's your biggest fear? What's the biggest obstacle that you have in place right now for you not to look at your financial situation? You know, Ralph Waldo Emerson said, always do what you're afraid to do. And when you confront your financial fears, when you look at what's present for you, you can have a whole breakthrough in that. I'm Susie Carder, and this is our Susie Snacks, where we give you bite-sized information, which becomes your cocktail for success. Now remember, you're not in business by yourself, you're in business for yourself, and I'm here to support you along the way.